My brother, his 2-year-old grandson, and I traveled together to Costa Rica. The 2-year-old knew more Spanish than my brother and I combined. This was a legacy trip. This was honoring my late sister-in-law as we went and visited with families who knew her and heard their stories about her laughter, about her ability to play a prank, and about her generosity of spirit. Now, if you haven't yet traveled internationally with a toddler who is not quite fully potty trained, you may not know that lots of times you'll say the phrase, "Did you mess?" Now, my nephew took a great offense to being asked this question. And so he would usually respond with an exaggerated, "No." But my brother and I kept smelling something. And we couldn't quite figure out what it was, because when we checked him, he was fine and he was clean. But we kept smelling this weird odor. And it grew throughout our 10 days in the hot and sunny Costa Rica. Now, we kept checking our bags, and we could not find the smell, and maybe we thought it was from our hosts, but we didn't want to ask. So we just kind of kept figuring out what this scent was. On our very last day in Costa Rica, as we packed up all of our bags and put them into the cab of the truck to go to the airport, as we closed the doors of the cab of the truck, the smell was stuck in there with us, and we knew that it was either us or the host. And we drove the 70 miles to the airport, trying so desperately to hold our breath the entire time. And we knew for sure after we'd been dropped off at the San Jose airport and the truck was going off into the distance, we knew at that moment, without question, it was us. Something among us. And I looked at my brother and I motioned to my great nephew and I said, "You are the grandfather. This feels like yours to deal with." So he and my nephew went off to the restroom with the scent kind of trailing behind them. And I thought, we have found the solution. And he comes back shaking his head and he says, "No, he's clean." I'm like, "How? Like, where is that smell coming from?" And right there in the middle of the airport, we unpacked all of our bags. We went through everything. We checked the pockets of the pants that were in the bags. We looked for everything. We could not find the smell. I thought maybe we had stepped in like sloth poop. Maybe that was what this rancid smell was. But no. We go to the airport diner for some breakfast, where the waitress looks at us with both pity and dread as she serves us. And we saw that look over and over as we traveled from Costa Rica back to the United States. And when we're on the plane, I was sitting next to my nephew, and my brother was just a couple rows ahead because we hadn't navigated that whole 3 seats together thing. And I didn't smell it sitting next to my nephew. And I thought, it's my brother. But we enjoy our seat. And then as the plane lands in Houston, and as everybody does, you know what happens. Everybody stands up at the same time, and they open all of the overhead bins. And when the person opened the overhead bin with my brother's bag in it, that wretched smell invaded the aircraft. And everybody nearby started coughing and covering their mouths. And people were like crying tears of pain, and everyone starts looking around like, what is that? And what I love is that my brother did the same thing. My brother's like, I have never smelled this before in my life. We get off the plane and we go through his bag at the Houston airport. We're like, it's gotta be in here. Nothing. So we navigate through customs and then TSA again, and we're coming through TSA, and the guard says, I need to hand check that bag. Of course you do. he says, he starts going through it, and we're like, find it, whatever it is, just find it. We will pay you to find it. And he digs through the whole bag, and we're like, no, there's nothing in there. And then he flips the bag over. And there, underneath the little fabric strip, is a hidden zipper. And he unzips the zipper, and he reaches in with a gloved hand, and he pulls out a sealed sippy cup. And my brother and I, at the exact same time, say, no. And we like motion in slow motion towards the guard. How we do not get tackled, I have no idea. And he's like, he goes to twist the lid off of it. And my brother and I are like, oh no, please, for the love of all things that are holy, do not open that. He's like, I gotta. And he laughs. He laughs. He says, it's my job. And he twists it open, and my brother and I both take steps back, and he reveals curdled breast milk. So it wasn't my nephew. It was kind of his mama. But in my head, all I could hear was his grandmother, Kelly, laughing hysterically one last time. Thank you.